here at Geneva Cemetery in Florida. This is a very old cemetery, as you can see, for this part of the state, 1880. The significance of this, in addition to there being 17, previously 18 Civil War soldiers buried here, there were 2 carpetbaggers and 16 Confederate soldiers who served their country, died, and were buried here. One was removed, and one was removed from somewhere else to here, and that's the person we're here to review. It is a fascinating subject to me. Lewis Powell served his country almost from the beginning of the war. He signed up. He was from Hamilton County, Florida, near Jasper, or in Jasper rather. His parents are interred here. He served at Gettysburg. He served with Mosby's Rangers, and he is also known as one of the Lincoln conspirators, the so-called Lincoln conspirators. He was the person who attacked Seward in his home, and also his son, apparently almost finished his job, and he was later hanged. Most people know who John Wilkes Booth is. Some people know who Mary Surratt is, but most people couldn't name the rest of the so-called Lincoln conspirators. This guy was one of them, and I just recently found out that he was buried here. I had no idea where he was buried. I didn't really know much about him at all. I knew he was one of the conspirators, but I just figured he was buried somewhere else. He was initially interred in the old prison, the old Capitol prison in Washington, D.C., and during the course of the next 20 years, his remains were brought back here by his parents and interred here. As we're looking out over this cemetery now, we haven't even gone in it yet, but we can see this is one of the last places that I've seen where the flag is still flying, and I think that's very fascinating as well. So we're going to go in and we're going to try to find the grave of Lewis Powell. Okay, and here we have found it. Private Lewis Thornton Powell, CSA. 2nd Florida Infantry, Hamilton Blues, 43rd Battalion, Mosby Rangers. Very cool. As I mentioned earlier before we came in, there are a good number of, an unusual number these days, of flags flying in here. That's sad. That's very sad. It's a typical small town, old Florida cemetery in a lot of ways. A few oak trees, but we normally see a lot more, but it's smaller than some of the cemeteries we've seen, town cemeteries, particularly given that they're still interring people here, which is very interesting. And just looking around right here, I see probably 7 or 8 flags. So all these veterans have been memorialized by the people keeping this cemetery. J. Nicholson, 43 to 87, a very long life. William Lockett, CSA, passed July 96. Ooh, Spanish-American War. See that every day. Very cool. People of this town seem to have a very excellent tradition of serving their country, whether Confederate or later the United States. Well, this is that guy over there. Okay. George Heath, 14th Georgia Infantry, past 1899. Jacob Geiger, looks like his flag is falling down. We're going to have to fix that. Okay. Alright. Duly fixed. Company B, 2nd Florida Cavalry. Baby Geiger. It's kind of sad. Not a lot of overly old school ornate stones. A lot of the bigger stones are newer stones. It's an interesting eclectic mix of recent burials and that's interesting. Here's a carpetbagger with a flag flying next to his name. It's Ohio Infantry. Somebody made a mistake there. Moran, Andrew A. Moran, Company A, 1804. Served his country. James Morrow, 1888. Has a flag next to him. Yeah, that's Morrow, M-O-R-R-O-W, okay. Person who, James F. Privat, has a Woodman of the World designation, but not the typical stone that we see. That's the typical stone that we see, so that must be a new stone. Yeah, this is the typical stone. Fred DPrivett. Interesting. I confess to knowing nothing about the Woodmen other than they have these really cool old headstones on all their people. Or I guess the people who requested them. And this seems to be, if not a newer section, not as old, 46, 69, 71. Moran. And Moran's a prominent name here. So we're in a part of the state where, unlike where I'm from, which is the greater Tampa Bay area, where in this part of the state people are born here, they live here, and they die here. They have their children here, their children have their children here. Generation upon generation upon generation. Hardy people who came back in the day, even as early as the Armed Occupation Act, to get free land, to settle it, and kept it, homesteaded it, and made it work for them. That's interesting. Oh, Spanish-American War. Okay, I couldn't figure what that was. Get off this crap. This stone. Give me a whisper around for this stuff. Edward Sieg, 81 to 23. Oh, cool. War's a war. Oh, Daniel Pattishaw, a surgeon, CSA, past 1905. Some other Pattishaws, goodness, they were all from this area. Coffee, a whole bunch of coffees. Here's World War I vet. I got my book cut out for me with photographing this place. This is a gold mine. Absolute gold mine. Well, we're going to get started on that in a moment, but for now we've learned about and came and saw the grave of Lewis Powell. Well, something I may or may not have mentioned, I don't know if I forgot to mention it or not. This guy, Henry Baker, Lieutenant CSA, Virginia, cool, they cut this guy's head off. It wasn't enough to hang him. They cut his head off and they put it on display in the Ford Theater. And it was later discovered in their archives or whatever, like, you know, they keep stuff like that. And I don't know if his head ever made it down here or not. I'm assuming it did, just because it's the right thing to do. I don't want to mess with these pennies, but I want to see this guy's first name. Wade Rawlerson, alright. CSA. Oh. Heroes. In the presence of the graves of heroes. These guys serving their country. If you see combat or not, you're serving your country. That's a hard life. It's a hard life. What do we got? World War I. It's an amazing place. So anyway, let's stop where we started. Hanged on July 7th, 1865. 21 years old. He would have joined when he was in his teens. He would have been 17 when he joined. Served throughout all 4 years. Paid the ultimate price. More or less on the battlefield. Hanged at the hands of his enemy. Something to think about. As we look out over the cemetery, the graves, the flags are flying. Nice stiff breeze coming through. Very cool. Alright, we're going to photograph it and get out of here.